With the guide plates installed, a little assembly lube on both ends of the push rods will keep them from galling during that critical moment of initial fire up. Then we can drop on our Summit 1:5 ratio rocker arms. And here's a simple way to know when it's time to lash the valves. When the exhaust valve starts to open, you can set the intake lash. When the intake starts to close, you can set the exhaust. And on a hydraulic camshaft, each one gets a half a turn past zero lash. Now that our long block is complete, we can pour in Royal Purple break-in oil, hook up a temporary oil pressure gauge, then using this priming tool, spin the oil pump shaft to make sure there's adequate oiling. Now, believe it or not, actually firing up a brand new motor like this without a proper prime could actually cost you up to 80% of your bearing life in the first 30 seconds. Kind of makes it worth the time, don't it?
The intake's next, and to keep its gasket in place, we'll use this handy high-tack stick. Plus, we'll lay down a nice welding bead of silicone, front and back. Then, after laying down the gaskets, we carefully drop the intake in place. Next, a visual check of how our runners light up.
Man, it don't get no better than that right there.
Now, since our four-corner bolt holes are blind, these only require some boat lube. The 8 center bolt holes go into the lifter valley where oil splashes around, so we'll coat these threads with sealant. Here's a little tip to ensure a quick, easy first-time fire-up. Instead of bringing the mark up to 0 on the timing pointer on the compression stroke, bring it up to 25 degrees before top dead center.
Since we're running a cast camshaft, we can use the steel gear that comes in our new HEI distributor. Don't forget the lube, though. And as we install it, we want to make sure the rotor button is pointing to the number 1 cylinder. This will give us 25 degrees of initial timing, which should light right off. Before we can make up our set of custom plug wires, we need to install our valve covers and mock up our headers. We're using these billet aluminum wire looms and want to make sure everything's neat and away from exhaust heat. Our E3 diamond fires will get a little anti-seize to avoid damaging threads on the next plug change. Attach our boot ends, route our wires through the looms and lock them in place. Now we can cut them to length. Crimp the ends on, and with boots installed, add some dielectric grease so the boots don't fuse to the terminals. And now we have an almost dyno-ready 383 stroker.